water an hour out to the Arkansas Highway Department's ditch, located in front of our home on Capps Road. On Monday, December the 26th, we called Southwest Boone Water. Each time a message was left, several times, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Messages were left with the answering service. Monday, December the 26th, we left messages again with the ladies in the office. We confirmed it was them, because we asked them. Since we still had not heard anything from Doug or anyone, around 1 o'clock, we called again and finally spoke with Melissa Crow. She said she didn't know anything of what was going on out there and that the calls would have been given to Doug, but she would have someone out here right away. Within a few minutes, Alan Estes arrived at our home, and we explained everything to him, what we had transpired. We showed him and asked why they hadn't returned our calls. He had no response. We demanded to speak with Doug Wasson. Doug came out to the house within an hour. At this point, we shared all the details of what we had been going through, and we asked him why he hadn't returned all our calls. Doug said he didn't receive any messages from anyone, including that he emphasized the word "that" answering service. He said the answering service has messed up before, but he said in the future for us to call him directly on his cell phone, and he gave us his business card with his cell numbers and office numbers. Doug at that time walked the property with us. We showed him all that we had been going through, and we point blank asked him if anyone had any water problems in the area. He emphatically said no, no one. Doug at this point gave us a copy of a small portion of a map showing the location of the 6-inch line which runs in front of our property. He walked the property blue staked in front of the main line with flags and with blue spray paint. We showed him everything, and he said, well, Alan did a chlorine test with 7 or 8 packets, and he didn't see any trace of chlorine. So, as Doug said, it couldn't be their leak. I guess Doug and Alan need to be educated on how to test for chlorine, when the samples to use and what to use to do a proper test. We now know what a proper test looks like. We point blank asked him, Doug, have you changed out any water meters or done any work on the lines around us in the last several months or before the Thanksgiving holiday? Doug's response was a resounding and absolute no. Doug then said he had done a pressure test on the line and there wasn't a problem, that he agreed this was a lot of water. The water source had to be from the Sutterfield family water, but he claimed he had checked their meter and it was showing it was properly working. Yet, we never ever heard from him about what his test showed. And we never saw him go to the Sutterfield family home. And besides, Doug didn't even know that the land with all the water standing on it actually belonged to Polly Jr., not Polly Sr. Sutterfield. For the record, the Sutterfield family was gone on a mission and wasn't even home to have had any kind of testing or meter or water run through their system. Interesting, then, that it was Doug who told us he had done all these tests. Doug told us we needed to get a plumber out here and also have the septic people look at our system. We told him we'd already done all this while leaving messages for him and getting no return calls or help. We gave him names of who had been out, from plumbers to septic to the health department to contractors, excavating companies, even including the Arkansas State Highway Department, all said it had to be a water main leak due to the volume of water we were pumping to the ditch. I remind you, 1,800 gallons an hour. On Tuesday, December 27th, we contacted Doug on his cell phone and again told him what yet another contractor had told us, that it was a water main leak. We explained to him how other cities we've lived in used a dye pack placed in the lines to watch the water flow and trace the leaking. He said they didn't use that in Arkansas and confessed he didn't really have the equipment to do anything like that, even a pressure test, because Southwest Boone County Water Association was a small company and didn't have the funds to do any advanced testing. We asked him, well, we thought you said you pressure tested the lines. That is what you told us yesterday. He said, well, we don't have that type of equipment to do a real pressure test, so no, we can't do that test. Doug then said if we could find some way to do the testing, to let him know and he would see that it was done. We got on the computer and started searching. Frankly, up to this point, we thought Doug was actually willing to help and find out where the water was coming from. We quickly learned that this is not the case. Ignorance is bliss, or so they say. On Tuesday, December 27th, we started searching and calling various agencies. By the grace of God, we stumbled onto a company called Arkansas Rural Water Association. Because of the late hour, we couldn't call him until the next morning. On Wednesday, December 28th, the morning, we contacted Arkansas Rural Water Association and spoke with a lady in their office by the name of Sharon. We explained what we were looking for, and she frankly said she was confused, but she would have a training support person call us back to explain what they do. Also on this morning was our first call to the state of Arkansas. We spoke with Raymond Engelert, a geologist, and he listened to all the story of what we had experienced. He told us to contact Scott Osbrooks, geologist, also the supervisor for the Geohazards Environmental Survey for the state of Arkansas. That was our first conversation with Scott Osbrooks. After telling him this whole story and what we now know to be no help from Doug Wasson and the Southwest Boone County Water Association, he said he wanted to come see for himself. He scheduled a meeting initially for the 2nd of January, then had to change the date to the 4th of January, 2012. So that he could bring one of his water specialists. Dennis Sternberg called us back. He explained they do support training and testing for Arkansas water companies. We told him our situation and what Doug Wilson had told us to find out. He said, "Ma'am, I'm confused. First, don't take this the wrong way, but we typically do not take calls from the general public. Second, we work with the water companies and general companies with training and support, like bringing equipment to do testing of lines and finding leaks." However, he said, "Now, what water company are you on?" We told him Southwest Boone County Water Association. He said, "Yes, that's Doug Wasson." We asked him, "Oh, do you know Doug?" And he said, "Yes, ma'am. We do testing and training for him." At this point, we could have been knocked over by a feather. We were in shock. Dennis then asked us, "Ma'am, why are you calling me about a leak or a test? Why didn't Doug call us?" We told him right then we didn't know why, nor did we understand why we're having to do this or being sent all around the world. But now we plan to find out. Dennis further advised us he couldn't take